In this video, I'm going to discuss a group at UC Davis that falls into the environmental discourse community. The reason I chose this discourse community is because of my background with it. In high school, I was part of my school's Green Energy Academy, and that helped me become literate in sustainability and environmentalism. I haven't really had a chance to look into the clubs and organizations found on UC Davis, or to even connect with others that are interested in the protection and conservation of the environment. Since environmental is a broad term, I would be required to observe every group on campus that has anything to do with the environment. After searching the words environment and green on OrgSync from the My UC Davis webpage, one group showed up for both searches that piqued my interest, and that is SRO, the Sustainable Resource Operations at UC Davis. There were a few other groups that showed up for both searches as well, but I narrowed my choice to this group alone because their information page said that they want to educate students about reducing energy, water consumption, and waste, and promote green purchases. I will be examining the characteristics that make SRO a discourse community. According to Stacy Pick's video, Discourse Community Introduction, there are 6 features to discourse communities. Those features that she lists are that they have common interests and public goals, share mechanisms of communication, share feedback and information, share genres and genre conventions, share specialized and shared terminology, and have members with expertise. I will explore how the Sustainable Resource Operations meets the characteristics for sharing common interests and public goals, sharing feedback and information, and sharing genres and genre conventions. In order to classify SRO as a discourse community, I wrote 7 interview questions that touch on the 6 features of such communities and reached out to a few people from the group. I managed to get one member from SRO, the group's president, Jordan Ramalingam, to answer my questions through email. In addition, I will be using my observations of any information that I was able to find about the group, such as their website, Facebook page, and information page on OrgSync. This wouldn't seem like enough research for a normal research article, but considering the timing and the context of the assignment, it should suffice. One might think it necessary for me to conduct the survey, but as Diana Lynn Driscoll, a PhD graduate from Purdue in Composition and Rhetoric, puts it in her essay, Introduction to Primary Research, Observations, Surveys, and Interviews, one should use interviews to gain details from a few people and surveys to learn general patterns from many people. In my case, I narrowed down my community to one group whose only formal members are the officers, according to Ramalingam. It would be best for me to get detailed answers from a few people rather than general information from a large group, since the people that attend the meetings vary. From my interview with SRO's president, Jordan Ramalingam, I found that the group's members consist of officers and university staff that collaborate to set up projects. And it extends to non-formal members, which are students of every major that don't hold an officer position. Ramalingam's responses to my questions show that the Sustainable Resource Operations meets the 3 characteristics that I am observing of the 6 that define a discourse community. For the first criteria, common interests and public goals, one can assume that the interest shared is sustainability from the group's name alone. This is confirmed by looking at the interview responses and the information page on OrgSync that says that they want to educate students about the conservation of water and energy and waste reduction, which are topics that fall under sustainability. There are a few goals that the formal members share. In response to the interview question about goals, Ramalingam mentions that they want to connect staff and students through sustainability projects and make students aware of UC Davis Department's sustainability efforts, as well as increasing the number of students interested in sustainability on campus. Because they share these goals and interests, they have a reason to gather and communicate in order to accomplish their purpose. Linguist John Swales in the concept of discourse communities says that it is commonality of goal, not shared object of study, that is criterial of a discourse community. Although there are other clubs on campus interested in the environment, it's SRO's goals to connect students and staff rather than simply advocating for the protection of the environment that distinguishes them from other groups. The third criteria, sharing information and feedback among members and non-formal members, is definitely a necessity. Swell states that the membership implies uptake of the informational opportunities. It's given that if you are a part of a discourse community, you have to exchange information with other members. According to SRO's president, among formal members, texts and emails are used to exchange information about events, and Facebook and emails are how information is shared with both members and non-formal members about upcoming events and projects in order to coordinate them and to make people aware of the group. I've noticed that a lot of clubs on campus also write announcements on the blackboards of classrooms and lecture halls, which the group does as well, as shown by one of their Facebook posts. Sharing information correlates with the group's goals, which is the secondary reason for the exchange in Swell's words. By telling students about their events and projects that will teach them about sustainability efforts on campus, the Sustainable Resource Operations is connecting students and staff and opening their eyes to how green UC Davis is, and perhaps adding an environmental literacy and passion. In relation to exchanging information or accomplishing a task related to the club's goals, certain forms of communication are used. This criteria, the fourth criteria of genres and genre conventions, Swells describes as discoursal expectations that the discourse community has developed and continues to develop, which may involve appropriacy of topics, the form, function and positioning of discoursal elements, and the roles that texts play in the operation of the discourse community. In the case of the Sustainable Resource Operations, they didn't develop their own genre, but they did incorporate a borrowed one in a way that fits the community. From my observations and interpretation of the interview responses, the prominent genre used by SRO seems to be Facebook posts, since social media is the easiest way to attract a wide audience. It appears that they used to keep everyone updated using a website, but replaced it with Facebook around 2014, since the last time they updated it seems to be around that time. The group's posts can be considered a genre, since Carrie Dirk explains that one should think about genres as tools to help people to get things done. Their Facebook posts do just that, as they update members and non-members about events, projects, ideas, and the results of past projects. They also use the posts in a way that is appropriate to them, meaning they have assimilated the genre. Because the group is affiliated with an institution of higher education, the posts on the Facebook page are formal and are sparing in colloquialisms and emojis that you normally see on Facebook posts. As you can see in this post, there are no abbreviations or mistakes in grammar or spelling. Even the greeting is formal. The purpose is simply to let people know about a meeting and encourage everyone to come. Words like drought mitigation and irrigation reaches out toward a crowd interested in saving water. In another example where they are giving information about a project, the same informative and formal tone is used. Again, there aren't any lapses in grammar or spelling. In this case, they are trying to be clear about the details and goals of the project, which is sure to attract a wider range of environmentalists by using terms such as low carbon, carbon neutral, water efficiency, and conservation. Nevertheless, the way SRO writes its posts is effective because they are maintaining a professional and educational reputation while inciting enthusiasm through their cheerful tone and use of exclamation marks. Hope to see you there at the end of posts is used almost as a trademark to motivate the audience to join them. Images advertising their events and projects may increase the audience interest in joining the group as well. Even though I included observations and interview responses for this project, the limitations to it are that I was only able to interview one person, and I was not able to attend any of the Sustainable Resource Operations meetings to make observations and perhaps interview more people. This was made difficult by a couple of things. The first is the amount of time given for this assignment. This assignment was to be completed in a matter of a few weeks, which does not provide enough time to organize a topic and do proper primary research. Also, attempting to contact people and actually having them respond is quite difficult. The timing makes this worse because the last quarter of the school year is coming to an end, which means that many people are busy finishing their own assignments and preparing for finals, so they may not have time to help me with my research. The end of the school year also means that groups are having their final meetings, and time conflicts made it difficult for me to attend any of SRO's meetings. What I learned from the research I did is that the Sustainable Resource Operations meets the three characteristics of discourse communities for sharing public goals and interests, information, and genres and genre conventions. SRO definitely meets all 6 characteristics for discourse communities, and even though I only discussed 3 of the 6 characteristics, they are so closely related that those 3 are enough to consider SRO a discourse community. It's a very broad environmental discourse community, but it is a good group to associate with if you want to be green and learn how to help the environment. Thanks for watching!